One of the most interesting canaries in the coal mine was 2 days ago and what happened to Facebook. Everybody was saying, oh gosh, the market's going to rip on the open. We were closed for Juneteenth. And then on Tuesday, the market, the S&P was up like 250 basis points, 2.5%. And the NASDAQ was also up, call it maybe 300 basis points, roughly. But Facebook was down like 400 points, right? So it's a big spread. And why is that? And I was like, this makes no sense to me. What is going on with this price action? Everything was up. Apple was up. Google was up. And so I called around and, I was like, why is this happening? And this is the best explanation I got. When you look at who the incremental buyer is in the stock market, it tends to give you a sense of whether prices can go up or will continue to go down. And the poorest informed buyer tends to be retail. And the most informed buyer tends to be these very large institutional hedge funds, right? So there's a spectrum. Facebook is an example of of big tech that is poorly owned by retail. So it's mostly owned by smart money. And the case that smart money makes for owning Facebook is that it's got an extremely cheap price to earnings ratio. So you must own it. And what they said was that they, looking at the tea leaves of consumer demand, what they actually re-underwrote was that actually it's not that the price to earnings was cheap. It's that the E in PE was just wrong. And if they pass through all of these increases in inflation and, their earnings expectations into Facebook, it's actually more like fair value at a lower price. That's why they sold it so much on a day where the market was up. Now, why is that important? Well, eventually you're going to touch all these other stocks as well that are going to go through earnings revisions in this recession. This is where I think Wall Street has done a very poor job on behalf of retail. If you look at the average estimates of earnings, you will be shocked to hear that Wall Street actually has this year being record earnings, next year earnings continuing to go up. How is that even possible?